In 480 BC, a Persian king who believed he was a living god unleashed the largest army the world had ever seen. Hundreds of thousands of warriors drawn from every corner of his vast empire, stretching across 3 continents like an unstoppable tide. His mission was clear: crush the fragile spark of freedom in Greece and force every free man to kneel before him. Standing in his path was one narrow mountain pass called Thermopylae, the Hot Gates, and defending it were 300 Spartans who chose death over submission. This is the story of history's most legendary last stand, a tale of raw defiance and unbreakable courage that still stirs the soul 2,500 years later.
To understand what happened, we must go back 10 years to 490 BC on the plains of Marathon. King Darius of Persia invaded to punish Athens for supporting a rebellion against his rule. He expected an easy victory, but the Athenians charged with furious determination and shattered his forces, sending them fleeing in humiliation. Darius swore revenge, but death claimed him before he could return. The burning hatred passed to his son, Xerxes, who saw conquering Greece not just as payback, but as his divine destiny to rule the entire world. For 4 relentless years, Xerxes prepared the greatest invasion force in history: soldiers from India, Egypt, Ethiopia, and beyond. Modern estimates place the land army between 100,000 and 300,000 men, backed by over 1,200 warships. He carved a canal through mountains to protect his fleet and built a mile-long bridge of ships across the Hellespont so his army could march from Asia into Europe. When a storm destroyed the bridge, he ordered the sea itself whipped 300 times and the engineers beheaded, a glimpse into the ruthless mind of the man coming for Greece.
Panic swept across the Greek city-states. Many northern kingdoms submitted without a fight. Greece was not a unified nation, but a collection of rival cities that often warred among themselves more than against outsiders. Facing annihilation, they forged a fragile alliance, and for the land defense, they turned to the one force no invader wanted to face: Sparta. While Athens experimented with democracy, philosophy, and art, Sparta existed for one purpose: to forge perfect warriors. Newborn boys were inspected at birth. The weak were abandoned on hillsides to die. At age 7, they were torn from their mothers and thrown into the agoge, a brutal training regime of starvation, beatings, theft drills, and pain endurance that lasted over a decade. They mastered the phalanx formation, shields locked shoulder to shoulder, spears thrusting in unison, an unbreakable wall of bronze in tight terrain. Cowardice was the ultimate shame. A man who fled battle lost family, citizenship, and respect forever. Mothers handed their sons shields with the words, "with it or on it," meaning return victorious or dead. This merciless system produced King Leonidas and his 300 hand-picked royal bodyguards, elite veterans chosen because they already had sons to carry on their bloodlines. The Greeks selected Thermopylae as their killing ground, a coastal path squeezed between steep mountains and the sea, barely 100 meters wide at its narrowest point. Here, sheer numbers would mean nothing. Discipline and skill would decide everything. But the invasion coincided with sacred festivals, the Olympics and Sparta's own Carneia, during which Spartan law forbade military campaigns. The elders reached a grim compromise. Leonidas could take only his personal 300 royal guards. Before departing, he consulted the oracle at Delphi, which delivered a chilling prophecy. Either Sparta itself would fall, or a Spartan king must die. Leonidas chose his fate without hesitation. Marching north, he gathered allies from other cities, Thespians, Thebans, Phocians, and more, until the total Greek force reached about 7,000. They rebuilt an ancient wall across the narrowest section, and waited. When the Persians arrived, the earth seemed to shake under their endless columns. Xerxes set up his golden throne on a nearby hill to watch what he assumed would be an effortless victory. For 4 full days, nothing happened. He simply could not believe this tiny band would defy him. He sent messengers demanding surrender, and Leonidas answered with 2 words that have echoed through history: Molon Labe, come and take them. While waiting, the Spartans calmly oiled their bodies, exercised, and combed their long hair as if preparing for a festival rather than certain death. Xerxes' patience finally shattered. On the 5th day, the battle began with a storm of arrows so thick they blotted out the sun. A Spartan named Leonidas heard this and grinned. "Good, then we fight in the shade." The Greeks raised their massive bronze shields, and the arrows clattered harmlessly away. Then wave after wave of Persian infantry, Medes, Scythians, charged into the phalanx and broke like water on rock. Their wicker shields shattered against Greek bronze. Their shorter spears could not reach the defenders. The pass soon choked with bodies, and the Greeks rotated fresh men to the front to stay sharp while the Persians exhausted themselves. Day 1 ended in a massacre for Xerxes. Greek losses were almost nothing. On the 2nd day, Xerxes sent his finest troops, the 10,000 immortals, the elite royal guard whose name came from the fact that a fallen man was instantly replaced, creating the illusion of an undying force. They charged with disciplined fury, yet the result was the same. The Spartans even toyed with them, feigning retreat to lure the Persians in, then snapping back into formation and cutting them down. Xerxes leaped from his throne in rage multiple times as he watched his best men butchered. 2 days of fighting had cost the Persians tens of thousands dead, while the Greek line remained unbroken. It seemed impossible. Then betrayal struck. A local Greek named Ephialtes, tempted by Persian gold, revealed a hidden mountain trail that flanked the pass and came out behind the Greeks. Leonidas had stationed 1,000 Phocian troops to guard the path, but when the immortals attacked at night, the Phocians panicked, mistook the assault for the main attack, and retreated uphill. The Persians bypassed them and descended in the rear. At dawn, a runner brought Leonidas the devastating news. They were surrounded. Leonidas called a council. The position was now hopeless. He ordered the bulk of the Greek army to retreat immediately. Save yourselves and live to fight another day. The stand had always been a delaying action, and they had already bought precious time at terrible cost to the enemy. But Leonidas and his 300 would stay. For a Spartan king, retreat was unthinkable. In an extraordinary moment of heroism, the entire 700-man contingent from Thespiae stepped forward and chose to remain and die alongside the Spartans. 400 Thebans stayed as well, though many would eventually surrender. Roughly 1,500 men in total now faced the full might of the Persian Empire. Leonidas gave his final order: "Eat a hearty breakfast, men. Tonight we dine in Hades."
At dawn on the 3rd day, the remaining Greeks did not wait behind the wall. They advanced into the wider part of the pass, determined to kill as many Persians as possible before the end. What followed was pure, desperate violence. Spears broke, so they fought with swords. Swords shattered, so they fought with fists and teeth. Leonidas fell in the heart of the melee, and a savage struggle erupted over his body. The survivors withdrew to a small hill and formed one last tiny phalanx. Xerxes ordered his archers to finish it. The sky darkened once more under a storm of arrows. When the barrage ended, silence fell. Every Spartan and every Thespian lay dead. The hot gates had fallen.
Xerxes marched south, burned the evacuated city of Athens, and in a final act of rage, ordered Leonidas's body decapitated and crucified. On the surface, Persia had won. But the 3-day delay changed everything. Weeks later, at the naval battle of Salamis, the Greeks lured the Persian fleet into narrow straits and destroyed it. The following year, at Plataea, a united Greek army, fired by the heroism at Thermopylae, crushed the remaining Persian land forces and ended the invasion for good. Thermopylae did not win the war on its own, but it lit the fire of resistance. It forged unity among the fractured Greeks. It proved that free men could defy a tyrant and make him bleed. It became the timeless symbol of courage against insurmountable odds. After the war, the Greeks raised a stone lion at the pass in honor of Leonidas, and the poet Simonides carved the immortal epitaph, "Go tell the Spartans, stranger passing by, that here, obedient to their laws we lie."